I took a lot of losses doing that because I didn't know how to spend the money. We didn't have no advisors, no professional help. Nobody's saying like, "Hey, man, this is what you should do with your money."
Yeah.
But people seen what we were doing and wanted to copy it. They were like, "Damn, how are y'all doing all this?" And most people you talk to now, they don't want to spend money on themselves.
It's probably because of you.
You see, I'm Southside reppin', Bigfoot steppin'. Zone 3 section is God flow perfection. Hating on the church like I ain't blessed they section. If we ain't talking money, I got a weak connection. That's on the hood. She said get a bag, so I get it, got it good. Don't complain about my problems, I just put it in a wood. Seen a genie the other day, she said make it good. So I wish for good health, then I wish to look. It's chief, not lieutenant.
So much better.
You can't be their best friend, you gotta be a friend, but be their fucking dad and their mom.
For sure. All right, you ready to go?
I'm with it.
All right, another episode of Live on Lake Street. We live, baby. We got the legend Tony Bones in the building.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and pull that mic. Either pull it up to you or pull it closer to it. Either way. There we go. That'll work. So, man, I find it's actually kind of odd to me that we haven't sat down ever.
Yeah, man,
Like it just never happened.
timing is key.
Yeah, for
Now's
sure.
the time.
For sure. And I think it's dope. I like talking to, I'm going to call you a legacy act, even though you're still going, but
Nice.
you're one of the, really like the forefathers.
I actually have an album called The Legacy.
Yeah. See? So that's kind of perfect.
A lot of people were like, "What the hell kind of legacy do you have?" And I don't think they really understood that I'm a third. I'm a junior. My son's a third, and now he had a son, which is the fourth.
Wow.
So we're just keeping that name going.
Tony Bones the fourth? Tony Bones the fourth.
Call him T4.
T4. I like it. So I mean, I want to talk about your legacy in hip hop here because, we have a fairly young, based on our analytics, fairly young viewership.
Mm-hmm.
Some may not even know who you are.
Right.
Not even know that you laid groundwork
Right.
for a lot of the shit to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your legacy. Let's talk about a time before Long Doe existed. Like when you decided, when you decided I want to be a rapper?
I would say right around the 95, 96 era.
Okay.
My guy had a house right across from Roosevelt in the backside, and we used to all go over there and blaze herb and drink and rap. He would make beats. That's he got me inspired. He went by Chewy, and he basically was making beats for us and was like, "Yo, man, like that shit you're freestyling, you should start writing that down." And and I didn't ever write it down. I just kept freestyling, and that's what made me want to do it, because I got so good at freestyling. I would go to like parties and shit, and everybody would freestyle, and I'd jump in, and everybody would stop and just be in awe, because I could go for an hour
off the head.
Yeah, I got so good at it,
Yeah.
And then eventually after that, we broke in with Will Greens, Morocco, Snuff, Cause, T. LaShawn, and a bunch of other heads, and they said the same thing: write that stuff down, So eventually I started writing songs to Will Green's beats.
Mm-hmm.
And your beginning songs, you think they're the shit, the best songs in the world, and you're showing people like, yeah, this is good. You're getting your friends okaying it, but you listen to those songs 10 years later, you're like, man, I blew those songs out the water. I don't even know how I recorded those songs, but it takes that step to get there, you know. But that's kind of how we formulated and started going in, and we ended up releasing compilation albums with Will Greens. Will Greens went away to prison, and I ended up putting an album out for him while he was gone. His album, we were on a few songs of that. That was probably my first album I was on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so at what point, when did you meet Wiz?
I met Wiz when I was real young.
So at this point in the story, you knew Wiz.
We were hooping at,
okay.
More or less, I'm personally hooping probably at Sibley Park.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably when I worked there. When I worked at Sibley Park, I was super young. So
you and him were like together
for a long time.
You knew each other even
Yeah.
at this point in the story, like when
Yeah.
you started.
We knew each other. We didn't start doing music together until we got up with Will Greens together.
Okay, got it.
Will Greens found him in the area, and Will Greens and my brother were, they did a lot of street shit together,
Yeah.
And I was the younger guy. We grew up real poor, so like I bought Will Green's old Jabots for my school clothes because
Yeah.
I didn't want to wear Wranglers and Rustlers and Voights.
Yep.
If people even know what any of that stuff was.
I do. I don't know if people that are watching do, but
Man.
I do.
I had these my parents brought me these Voights one year. This is why I never wanted to have cheap shoes again. Like within the second day of school,
See, yeah.
I'm walking
Oh,
and they're like,
no.
"We ain't buy you no new shoes.
Oh,
That's
no.
the ones you're wearing." I'm like, "What the fuck am I gonna do with these?" So then I just started stealing shit, and then I get whooped for stealing. But I was like, "Man, I gotta have some shit. You know what I mean? I gotta have my stuff. You know?"
Yes, I mean you didn't pay cash for it, but
Right.
you pay with skin. Fuck
Yeah,
it,
right.
worth it.
It eventually, with all the rough stuff we went through, it was like, I would lay on them. I'm like, well, you guys ain't saints, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and I really got in their head, and they're like, oh man, this kid's getting smart, and
Oh no.
it was just that became a lifestyle. I would generate money off of street. I don't even like talking about because it's the past, but stealing pretty much and
Part of the story though.
robbing and shit.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, and when I started hustling hard and earning, street hustling, drugs,
Yeah.
basically looked down on thieves after that. Like, but I respected that they had to do it. I just was like, yo, you don't have to do it because you could do this now.
Mm.
But then I looked at it at the same time, like, I was greedy because when I would sell like coke and shit, I would sell it for cheaper than everyone, and I'd still be making more money than everyone because I would get big slabs and shit. And I was like 16 years old, and I was like, I was my aspect was like, hey, I'm giving it to you cheaper, and my shit ain't cut, so. You're getting a deal from me. I thought I was doing a good thing. Then later on, a few years later, I realized I was hurting friends around me, and I stopped selling the shit.
Mm.
But it was like many years after, But I went through a good 10-year run, with that old money.
Yeah.
Helped me boost a lot of stuff in the career, reinvest and learn. When you lose the money over and over again, different ways, you learn to respect the money as you get older.
For sure.
You learn to invest and be smart with the money and stuff. So, then I learned how to do it legally.
Mm.
And then, never looked back, never sold dope again. Just gave that up.
During that time that you were moving weight,
Yeah.
and in the streets,
Yeah.
was it treacherous out there for you?
Very. Yeah. I was crazy. I'd run around with fur coats on, big chains, 100 grand on me, fucking 2 guns. I'd always have extra clips in my pocket.
On your
Get
BMF
little
shit.
shootouts. Yeah, it was no joke, With a pistol whips with crackheads, they wouldn't pay me back, big tough ones too that I have to have a pistol for
Yeah.
because when everybody's scared to sell them crack and shit, but I'm like, shit, I'll sell them crack if he fucking wants to do anything, I'll just shoot him. That's how it was. That's how young and dumb people are.
Wow.
In that street mode, on the run, houses get our trap houses getting raided and shit, and get busted, and run charges concurrent. You get probation, 3 years probation, fucking gun charges, all this and that. Get felonies dropped to misdemeanor because there's no same or similar within the probation. This is lifestyle I had to grow to become to me.
Yeah.
To the more honest, older, wiser guy. I had to learn from all those mistakes. I'm just happy I'm still here, man, because, I could have had my top peeled a few times. I could be in jail for life over and over. Back then, they were hitting people hard for slabs,
Yeah.
I'll get like 10 at a time. I was going hard during Street Kings era,
Yeah.
It was like, I know they were doing it and I was doing it.
Yeah.
And, it was just, and I was solo. I was putting everyone on. I was a young boy putting everyone on.
Was
All the old guys.
Was there friction?
Oh, a few times here and there, yeah. But, I was there. I scared a lot of people because they knew I would shoot them. So they were like,
Shit.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was me then. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And as I got older, I look back at that young guy and I'm like, I don't want people to be scared of me because it affected me in my music. This
Yeah.
is why I'm talking about it, because later on it affected me in my music. they were like, people are like, oh, they're rough, they're rugged, they're reckless. Oh, stay away from them. Oh, this will happen. And I'm like, why do people talk bad? They don't know me as a person. They don't know the situation I had to go through for me to be in those situations.
Yeah.
They don't know me personally now, who I am, and my growth, And as we got older, we broke in the doors and all different types of ways, and and eventually became gatekeepers, kind of. And the reason why I say that is people were calling us gatekeepers. I was like, well, from gatekeepers, but we actually had some pull here in the music industry. Like, if you were back in MySpace days, if you were to look up artists out of Minnesota, we were one of the first ones to pop up. Tony Bones and Big Wiz.
Yep.
When we were like, if labels wanted to search, they'd find us.
Yeah.
And they'd see we were already working with major artists around the world and stuff. So.
Were you doing street shit and music at the same time?
I was. I mean, it was hard to get out of it. I mean, it's a lifestyle.
And you were using it, I assume, to fuel the career.
Fuel it, yeah. And back then, I took a lot of losses doing that because I didn't know how to spend the money. We didn't have no advisors, no professional help. Nobody's saying like, hey man, this is what you should do with your money.
Yeah.
But people seen what we were doing and wanted to copy it. They were like, damn, how y'all doing all this? And most people you talk to them now, they don't want to spend money on themselves.
It's probably because of you, because you fit the bill, you fit the image.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the problem. People are so worried about investing into themselves. That's the most important. Music business is 10%. You know what I mean? Investment is 90%.
Yeah.
You got to put that money in connections and places everywhere. And I mean, not music business, but the music is 10%.
Correct.
And the rest is so much else, and a lot of it's investment within time and funds. Costs a lot of money to get your stuff on real radio stations.
For sure.
A lot of people are like, oh, how come the radio won't play my stuff? How come DJs won't break me? Well, how come you're not giving them no bread? They got to eat too. You know what I mean?
For real.
You think of that type of shit,
So were you doing because that was back when radio stations were doing was there a hip hop radio station back in those days? There wasn't at all, right?
Nah. It was tough getting our music played on college radio, which would probably play some stuff. They would play like Rhyme Series stuff and pretty much them only. And it was tough getting our stuff played on that. One, we didn't know how to go about it, and two, our lyrics were real lewd and rugged, and if we'd have known a little better, we probably would have made some songs that would fit on the radio and still made our lewd and rugged stuff at the same time.
For sure. So I can see that you have regret now about some of the things that you were doing then. Yeah. But at the time, kind of had to be a little bit fun, right? Because you're like really living this shit and rapping about this shit.
It was amazing. The lifestyle. I was addicted to the lifestyle. I'm still addicted to it. I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean and sober for over 7 years now. No drinks, no smoking, no leans, no Vicodins, Percocets, long nights blacking out, beating people down, none of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we went through a lot of that. We would go downtown, we would run the bars. They called us the white TGs because our whole crew would go out there in white T-shirts. And we beat everyone up down there. And we wouldn't start the shit. They would just try to fight us and then be like, oh, wrong crew. Boom, whooped them every time. And then that's when they started, we did it so much, they started bringing the horses out. The cops with the horses. Because I feel like we kind of sparked that, Yeah. Because we literally got in like 300 brawls, you know what I mean, throughout the years.
You enjoy that shit?
When I was young, now I don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no, of course not.
But to defend myself, but I'm not going to be the offender ever. Nah, I'm too old for that. I don't need that in my life.
So that kind of brings up an age-old question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about artists? A lot of people have issues with artists that don't really live what they talk about in their music. How important do you think that is?
These days, it's not as important as it was back then because the reason why I say that is because it's accepted now. Like, there's so many people who just rap over their lyrics now and everyone just gets away with it. Before, you would get shunned at a show if you're rapping over your lyrics and you have no breath control. Like, it was accepted where the hook would play in the background, but you have to spit your bars on your verses, at least. If you're solo up there with no backup guy. Yep. That's a different story. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to catch your breath and do a whole set doing the hooks and the verses. But that, you got to get a little, especially, I was a little heavy set, drinking up there, getting a little loose, I got to have a little air in between the verses,
Yeah. But so what about guys that talk about that street shit that really aren't about it?
It's weird because it's like I used to look down on people wearing fake it till they make it because I'd always have real jewelry.
Yeah.
I'd have $250,000 jewelry on. Everybody might think it's fake. Well, they didn't know how I grew up and how I was. So
Yeah.
I'd look down, like, man, that shit's fake. What the fuck? But then I get it. You know, they're putting on a persona, and it doesn't really matter you don't really have to impress your friends.
Yeah.
If they're your friends, they're genuine.
Mhm.
They're your real friends. You're trying to impress people out there, so they don't even know if your shit's real or not.
True.
So, for instance, like Griselda, who knows? They talk so much crazy shit. They should be landed in prison right now. That's some stuff I talk about in music. I won't say a lot of stuff in music because they could go back and throw me away in that shit. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I'm not going to mention that stuff in music.
Yeah.
You know, and still to this day, as much as I could be like, well, I could blow all these street dudes out the water if they heard my story. You know, and I know how to rap good, so but I don't put it in there. Like I seen High Def on your show.
Yeah.
He actually mentioned that and what he meant by that. He said, yeah, that dude Tony Bone's crazy. He don't even rap about what he does because he's seen some stuff. He's seen a certain amount of stuff. He's seen me in the studio with guns and drugs and doing shit, and he knows about stuff when in the early era. You know what I mean?
He was around.
Yeah, so yeah, he's been putting in work for a lot of years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was I don't know, man. You know, I think it's
more
accepted. I can't say it's okay because I even talked to Peter Parker the other day, and I asked him, I was like, yo, man, how are these dudes getting away with saying this stuff in their music and they're still blown up? He's like, because they're not really doing it.
Yeah.
And it just hit me right there. And a guy like him should know stuff like that, you know. And not to say everyone isn't doing it. I'm sure some are.
Some, for sure.
You know, but the majority of them ain't doing it. They just have a really good education. They're hip to the streets. They know how
They've
to
seen
say
it.
Things.
They've
Yeah.
been around it.
Yep, they got a good slang, you know, and yeah, or the brother's a hustler, their uncle, their dad. So they learned it somehow, you know.
You
and they know how to talk
probably
again.
got some kids out here rapping because they seen you doing some
Yeah,
shit.
I-
Maybe not kids, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I put a lot of people on in the streets. I put a lot of people on in music, and I get feathers rarely, and you know, 15, 20 years later, I'll hear somebody say, "Man, I didn't have nothing until you did this and put me on," and you know, and I'm like, "Man, why didn't you tell me that back then? We could have worked together harder." You know what I mean? You know, but like a lot of people, that's another thing. A lot of people have a problem with, you know, giving props to people that showed them the ways and shit
Mhm.
like that. A lot of people are like, keep that pride in, or they just want to be like, well, I did this. It's like, well, you had to learn from somebody. I learned from somebody. I had to sit and watch all the older street dudes doing it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I picked a little piece out of each one of them. That's how you learn, you know?
Is this
You
a
create your own.
is this a world thing to you, or do you think this is a Minnesota thing?
What?
Not really wanting to give just due.
I think it's a world thing.
Yeah.
You know, especially I call it there's a shelving process where a label will, for instance, like an artist is super dope. Like who was that dude? Macklemore at the time, he was coming up independently, and then you know and this isn't what happened to him, but for instance, he was independently, and then what that big guy wanted to sign him to Sony, I think it was, or Warner Brothers, and he was like, I don't know if he said yes or no, but I'm just using him for instance, but other artists as well. If you're buzzing really heavy, but they already got their money invested into an artist,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, okay, yes. Oh, for instance, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders could have been our president, but
Mhm.
the Democrats took him in and shelved him.
Yep.
You see what I mean? And
Mhm.
they're like, oh, we'll throw him some bones and let him ride with us.
Yep.
But we can't let him in. We got too much invested into so-and-so.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is our plan already. You
Yep.
see what I mean? They're going full-fledged in that. Then we're going to let Bernie in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now there's people that use that. There's other artists that use that same influence.
Right.
See, those are the gatekeepers.
Right.
Those are because gatekeeper to me has a negative connotation.
It does. It does because people can hold the torch over people and dangle it, and that's a problem. You know, it's like, but then at the same time, the people we're expecting from them, they ain't doing enough.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to be asking them. You should be doing enough for them to come and ask for you.
Mm.
That's plain and simple. Everybody who got their hand out but don't want to put in.
Yeah.
You know, that's some new lyrics on my new album coming out.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
We'll talk. We'll get into that for sure. So, what level of attention do you pay to the current generation in music here in Minnesota?
You know, I've been so invested in the family lately. You know, I just finally got to hear Lexi's album, R.I.P. Lexi, and I felt like that was one of the most incredible local album mixtapes. Actually, it's a mixtape that came out, and I just heard it a couple of days ago. Gloria sent it to me, and I felt like she was the female Drake. She really sounds like Drake in her bars, how she spits, and she's very talented, and she went well over the beats. Talented artists like her, you know. Rifa has such great bars. He needs to just break away into the industry. He's just a strong, hard-hitting bar for bar. And then there's even, I mean, you know, younger, like Lexi, all that era. It's that sound. I pay attention, but at the same time, that ain't my era, you know? So, like, it's all about era. It's part of your programming, you know?
For sure.
I'm not intertwined enough to be like, okay, yeah, to have well-said input. It's almost like telling a young artist, like, oh, you can't say that, you can't do that. And they're like, well, fuck, you can't tell me what to do. That's what they should tell you back.
Right.
Like, I'm young, I'm growing, I'm going to strive and flourish, you know? And then the older cat has to sit back and say, yeah, you're right, I respect that, instead of being like, no, you know, I'm putting a stop to this or this or that. It's like, well, okay, then how about y'all battle on tracks? You know, let's make it competitive. Let's make it big then.
You ever been in the middle of a battle, a diss tracks?
Nobody's ever came at me, you know? I don't know why.
I do now. You just told your story. I know why now.
Yeah, no, I've never, you know, and I never really, I always gave respect to people. I was always the giver. You know, I never took. I always gave. I gave people opportunities as many times as I could. And it was hard for me to jump and give more people opportunities because I was just so jam-packed with my lifestyle and doing, you know, I released albums frequently throughout artists in our label, Longdo Records, and then my solo albums, and then I would bring in artists consistently through my promotion company, Longdo Entertainment. And, like, there wasn't a lot of time for me to do extra stuff. But, you know, I'd still throw a bone anywhere I could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not even, like, trying, like, hey, this is what I got to do. It's just, like, on the spot. Okay, here it is, boom, here you go. If I got a little time, someone asks, boom, you know. How much for a feature? I got you this time. Or $100. So they're like, whoa, why are you going to charge $100? Well, I got to eat, pay gas, and the studio's where I want to record, and that's what it's going to cost me to get your song done.
Yeah.
I'm not making nothing. I'm just going to eat, pay my gas to get there, and pay the engineer.
Yeah.
So, you know, I never really taxed anybody over the head for...
That's been a pretty prominent conversation recently in the scene about should local artists charge other local artists for features?
Yes and no. It depends. Like, if an artist approaches you and wants to do something with you, you always throw a price out there.
Yeah.
If they don't want to pay you nothing, then they probably didn't really want to do anything with you in the first place. If they don't have no money, work something out with them. If their budget ain't big, work out with their budget. Or then you ask an artist, say, well, if you want to work with me, what are you going to do with this song?
Yeah.
Do you have a video plan next? Are you going to market it? Because that's a lot of problems. A lot of people are like, I want to work with you. I want to do this. Nobody ever hears this stuff outside of here. Nobody wants to go on tour. Everybody just wants to do it to be cool because it's the cool thing to do, and everybody raps.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like, it's a business too, you know? And like, people are like, well,
supposed to be.
You know, then, you know, some people take advantage of the business. Some people can't even rap that well, and they're crushing it because they're great at business.
Facts.
And that's just like, not saying locally, that's just like worldwide, you know?
There's probably more of that than the opposite.
Exactly.
Like you said, it's the music is really only 10%.
Right.
Like, honestly, at this point, you can have terrible music.
Right, exactly.
And if your business is right and you know how to go viral, out of here.
And I feel like you should always charge. You have worth. You have self-worth.
I agree.
You know, at the same time, throw bones, you know. For instance, like if you're a buzzing artist, somebody might call you in. Or if you have something to offer for someone, they might call you in. That's money in itself. you know, that's gonna get somebody clout, and that's part money right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, for instance, like, I worked with several major artists.
Mhm.
I'd guap them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are like, you paid Twista what? I'm like, you're gonna pay him more. I bought 3 songs at once. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I got, you know, I'm not even gonna say what I paid, but it was a lot. And most people.
I am
probably wouldn't
curious.
invest that in
I
their
am
whole
curious.
album. Well, okay, I'll say I paid $15,000 for 3 verses.
And this is Twista. What year?
Ah, shit, man, this was a long time. 2010.
So this is like overnight celebrity time.
Yeah, 2010.
Okay.
So maybe
But
even a little earlier, 2009, 8.
Was
2009, I think it
was the return there?
No, because like I said, I didn't have no advisors. I didn't know how to sell my
So
music,
you were, yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and that's like if I knew now what I knew then,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Ain't that always the damn
yeah.
story?
like I could be someone's advisor or manager and
Yeah.
take them all the way if I wanted to. No, but it's like that ain't what I'm interested
It's
in.
not what you want to do.
I would if there was real money involved.
Yeah.
Because I'm a go-getter. I like to make money. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I got my ways of making bread. So I'm going to just make sure I'm good and my family's good at this age so we live well. But at the same time, if I'm presented an opportunity, I'll kick doors down for some young artist. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That deserves it.
don't be surprised if somebody hits you up.
Yeah, well, you know, if they got the money to invest, I can show them the way, you know. But I'm not going to work with everybody because I'm going to focus on somebody I believe in. You
Yeah.
know, and maybe one to start with. Right now, I'm just kind of helping with Nicodemus, get him back in here with beats and stuff like that. I had a situation where, with Nicodemus, where we worked out I worked with Alchemist, and I had Alchemist ready to release the Nicodemus produced beat tape presented by Alchemist. I worked that situation out, and then all of a sudden I never heard from Alchemist again. Nicodemus calls me and says, "Oh, that's never going down anymore." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I already worked it out." He's like, "No, it's never." I was like, "I got it. Don't worry." He's like, "Okay." And I never talked to him again. So I was just like, damn, did Nick say something to him? That's what I thought about.
You think he did?
He had to have, but, you know, that's another thing. Like, the artist has to learn their place. They have to be like, yo, you let your manager talk for you.
Yeah.
If people approach you and they're like, hey, well, how much it costs? Oh, I can't deal with you directly. You got to say, no, you deal with my manager. That's how that artist is going to get bread. Take advantage of you personally on your kind heart or, you know, or threats or any whatever, you know, let the manager step in and be like, he ain't taking no shit, you know what I mean? And if people don't want to work with them, that situation, what we have to offer, then you don't have nothing to do with it. And that's another thing, artists have to build that buzz up first.
Yeah.
Create your self-worth, and then, you know, I'm not just going to take on an artist.
You got to have something to be managed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like, I mean, the more work you have to put in that you need to do is going to cost you more money.
Mm-hmm.
Money. A lot of people don't like that word. It costs a
Yeah.
lot of money.
It does.
You know, like shit. You know, some great songs are roughly 200,000 to throw on all the radio stations.
Yeah, it's like any other business.
You know what I mean?
That's
People are
why
like,
it's so rare
yeah.
that you actually become this. I mean, it's a tough thing to say,
Right.
but the truth is, you're probably not going to make it.
Right.
Like the chances are stacked heavily against you.
But at the same time, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Because if you have a standout talent, the key is to have that standout talent. You sit there daily, like what Kanye did. He's like, man, I sat in the basement 3 years. I didn't come out until I was done making these beats. And then he made all them beats for everybody.
Mhm.
But he was trying to convince people he was the rapper.
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't believe him until Dame Dash finally signed him and said, okay, I thought you were going to throw a bunch of features on the album because you're a producer. And then I heard you're actually a good rapper, and you showed me your vision.
Yeah.
I'm signing you. And then I seen him make a mistake in his documentary. I don't know if he did or not. I don't know if there's lawyers sitting at that table, but there was no lawyer at that table when he signed that contract.
It looked sketchy, right?
Yeah,
I agree
so,
with you.
That's another thing. Artists always got to have lawyers look over their contracts, especially when there's a lot of money or a big situation like that going on.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, did he read that? Did he understand all that?
I think he just wanted to get in so bad. He was just like, yeah, I'll sign.
I'll
like
take
a lot
it.
of people make that mistake. That's why you heard a lot of old artists like say things like, oh yeah, the label ripped me. And that's halfway what happened. They didn't just rip you. They just told you this would happen, and you didn't read the small lettering.
They did better business than you.
Right, and you're not using your situation to make more bread. You know, you should have kept yourself buzzing. And when you're out of that contract, now it's all yours.
Yeah.
You know, now you can put someone else on using your name, your image, because you're the product. You got to pimp yourself out,
For real.
and that's what it is. You push yourself. You
Yeah.
know? And
Do any of your kids express interest in music?
my son, he rapped for a while. Bought him a nice studio, all this and that. And, you know, he was doing things with his friends in the streets, and the equipment got broken and shit. It all got broken, and yeah, he just kind of
He followed in Dad's footsteps.
Yeah, you know,
A little bit.
I made it look appealing, you know. So
Yeah.
you know, but then now he's a car salesman, making good money doing that, taking care of his kids.
Okay.
You know, bought himself a nice new car. He's doing real good.
Was there a part of you that was really hoping?
Nah, I wanted him to find his own path.
Yeah.
If this is what he wanted to do, because it inspired him, fine, I'd help him.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't seem like it was gonna be his thing. Not to say it might not in the future, but you know that.
Could he rap?
Yeah, he was pretty good, but
He's
you
all right.
know, he was into drill music, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and at first I was trying to understand drill music in the beginning because, you know, I come from an era where it's street slash backpack, you know, lyrics and, you know, not then drill kicked in the door at that time. And so I had to learn how to understand it, and it took its place. It's hard, and it's still going real hard right now. And he was doing that with his friends, and then they loved it. I kind of bought him a real nice studio so they could all do their thing together, and then. But you know, young cats, man.
Yeah.
In the streets,
Yeah.
you know, doing stuff. So
Yeah. For sure.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know.
There's a interesting evolution of drill too. Like drill has changed.
Yeah.
It's not what it was like when Chief Keef came out. You know what I mean? Like you hear like 5EO4 now.
Right.
That New York drill is different. It's
Yeah.
better. It's more appealing.
Well, you know, those are smart artists going with trends, you know, because a lot of old heads in New York would say, "Oh, you gotta," like kind of like that thing you were talking about, like you gotta stick to our sound.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean our sound? You know what I mean? Like everybody raps.
Yeah.
That's the sound.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to say rapping just started in the East Coast, but it probably started before that. But hip hop started in the East Coast. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it started with, you know, DJs, b-boying, spray painting, dancing, rapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
MCing.
So let's
Right
talk a
now.
little bit about what you're doing now. Still working, still making music.
Yeah, I like to stay underground these days
Mm-hmm.
because the industry feel like isn't for me anymore. I'm 41 years old. They call me OG Bones everywhere I go now. So
Yeah.
Alchemist actually gave me that name.
Okay.
And I'm releasing a new album, 2 albums, but this one I'm working on now with Nicodemus as the producer. It's called, I'll give you the name. I wasn't trying to tell anyone, but I might as well.
Might as well, it's live on Lake Street, baby. You might as well.
It's called Struggle, Hustle, Success.
Okay.
You know, because you start with the struggle.
Yep.
That's how I grew up, struggling.
Yep.
And you hustle,
Yep.
and then you get the success.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's the concept for the album as well. You talk.
Yep. So a lot of the songs intertwine with them concepts.
Okay.
You know, so from getting beat down by life to glory, succumbing,
Yeah.
the difficulties, you know, tragedies and triumphs, and you know, and learning a lot from situations, teaching. I preach a little bit on the album, so if young cats are listening, they can learn something.
That's good.
So, you know, because like for instance, young cats are out in the streets shooting shit up and this and that, and they end up in prison for 20 years, and they're like, damn, I can't even, you know, I'm in here for murder, I can't even get out. My girlfriend left me, my friends ain't there, nobody's sending me bread. What they thought was cool isn't that cool.
Now you're alone.
You know, exactly.
In a
And
box.
It's like when you could be out here flourishing, looking at the artist that you wanted to be, or
Mhm.
the basketball player you wanted to be, or football player, or anybody, and that could be you.
Yeah.
It's all about the 5-year plan, I call it, you know?
Okay.
If everyone don't put in their 5 years and work hard,
Yeah.
you can't expect to make money the first 4 years. Right in that fifth year, you'll start seeing huge progress.
For sure.
And a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, man, how am I going to make money if I don't work this job until then? You can work the job. You work the job and work on your process throughout it the whole time. You just sleep 4-hour nights, 5 years. You know, people are like, I can't do that. Well, you're not going to make it. That's too many I can'ts already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be like,
Yeah.
I can. You know what I
You
mean?
can. You definitely can.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. And you'll see, because after you work 5 years and you put in every set goal and you complete them consistently, now you know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
Now people are coming to you for your services.
Yeah. For sure.
You made it.
You got any features on the project?
Not yet. I've wrote a few down, but I'm not gonna disclose them yet because, you know, I'm not trying to see it happen yet.
Okay.
I'm still feeling out the music. I got 28 beats. I got 12 songs written and 12 songs almost finished. You know, and I'm going to record them all by myself. Well, actually, my engineer will probably be Jerry McDaniel.
Okay.
He does.
I know who Jerry McDaniel is for sure.
Me and him do this albums together called The Fire.
Yep.
We're working on a third album as well called The Trilogy.
Okay.
So now you know the name of both albums
All
coming
right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Still working. Okay.
Yeah, nonstop.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm ready, man.
Southside Mount Rushmore.
Oh. For what exactly? For what? For
Well, think about what the actual Mount Rushmore represents.
so
And now-
videography?
No, so rappers, artists,
Rappers?
artists.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, got you,
rappers.
got you. We can do videographers too.
Okay. I'm gonna say some names that a lot of people might get mad of, but
That's okay.
it's true because, like I said, you got to put in the work, and they're shining. Prof, Bobby Raps, Atmosphere, Lizzo. I mean, obvious. Jay Plaza's on the way. I see him going. You know. Man, I mean,
You kind of came up with them fast.
it is what it is.
I'm not mad at it. If you
Yeah.
look at levels of success, it can't be argued.
No, you want Rushmore. You want faces who've done stuff here.
Yeah.
I'd say Doomtree, almost every artist in there.
Yeah.
Dessa,
Yeah.
for sure. Dessa's probably still working the hardest and
Yeah.
going the strongest.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I said a lot of people are going to get mad because they're like, why didn't you say my name? But I'm just speaking like if you really want serious success in this game, you got to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And don't be like, hey, they're doing it, why ain't I? You know, take a little piece from each one of them. Ask them.
Yeah.
They might even offer something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I thought when I asked Slug to do a track, I thought he was gonna charge me. Dude just did a track for me for free. You know what I mean?
Wow.
He handed that out to a few people, and I was like, damn, that's dope. You know, and a lot of people thought that about me. And then I was like, yeah, man, I'm a rapper, man. I ain't mega superstar where I
Yeah.
gotta be like, hey, I gotta get 50 grand for my verses. We're still working to that.
Sounds nice though.
Those you throw a bone to, their song might blow up.
Yeah.
And might put you further. But at the same time, you know,
For sure.
work with people who are
So Minnesota
Really doing shit.
Minnesota videographers. Let's go top 5. Since you gave me like 6 on the Rushmore anyways, let's go top 5 Minnesota videographers.
Dylan, Mercy's,
Hmm.
High Def, Mercy's May.
Yep. I forget about him sometimes. He's super nice.
The thing about Mercy's May is he shoots on the red
Yeah.
cinematic film.
Mhm.
It sets his stuff apart from others. you
He
know?
shot that one crazy video that you did, right?
Yeah, he
The
did,
the horror
Monsters.
Yeah, Monsters.
That's what I'm saying. Like I put 15 grand just in that video alone.
Cinematic. That shit was crazy.
You know, I could have put more in it, but that was like a cut cheap budget because we provided majority of the props
That was a movie.
and the places for cheap. For
Bro,
nothing.
anybody out there that hasn't seen that video, go look it up. Tony Bones, Monster.
Yep,
Is it Monster or
Tony
The
Bones,
Monster?
Monsters.
Monsters.
Tony Bones, Big Wiz, and Jelly Roll.
Yep.
That was actually featuring an artist named Jelly Roll.
Crazy.
From down south. He was pretty dope.
Yeah.
He does his own thing, kind of sings, raps. He's killing it right now.
He's popping right now.
Yeah, real big.
Yeah, Jelly Roll's
He's
moving.
created his own lane. He jumped in a lane and he's booming on like rock stations now, like with country rap,
Yeah,
rock song.
for sure.
And
Who do we name so far? You got
yeah, I got
Mercy's May,
Mercy's May.
High Def.
You know what? I gotta throw, you know, man, this is tough, man, because I hate to leave people out, man.
You can name them all if you want to.
I'm trying to pick people working out, and who I worked with. I'm obviously gonna say their names because I haven't worked with a lot of other people, and I'm biased that way. Jake Handegaard, he's done a lot of good stuff that should be noticed more.
It's Morningside.
Yeah, I think Morningside should be noticed more.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot of stuff with a lot of people.
He plays the shadows though a little bit.
Yeah, he does.
Because he works a lot with Robert Henry.
Yeah, he did stuff with Juicy J, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, 1323.
Mm-hmm.
They done a lot of stuff for us and a lot of stuff for a lot of people. 1323 probably has the most successful video besides High Def, which is Cheetos and Hot Takis.
Mm-hmm.
High Def has some super successful videos with drill rappers from
Mm-hmm.
Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah.
That's a good list.
Yeah.
That's a great list. I mean, really. I mean, I don't know. I'll say, this is your interview, not mine. I'll save my opinions. But that's a really solid list. Great list.
There's plenty, man. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm going to name drop people I worked with for sure.
Yeah. No, it's a great list. And I forgot about Mercy's May. Like, he's somebody that definitely should be mentioned.
And the thing, if you guys want to go work with Mercy's May after you see these videos that he shoots, make sure you got bread. He ain't cheap.
No.
Just letting you know.
There's a reason, though.
Yeah, you're going to get the best quality.
For
and
sure.
There's another guy I used to work with, but he's not local. So,
Who's that?
man, I hate to mention him, man, because we kind of had a falling out, but he ain't doing nothing anymore anyway. I'm not even going to bring it up.
Yeah, no
so.
reason then. No
Yeah.
reason. Okay, so we got the project, the one project,
Yeah.
the struggle, hustle, success project,
Yeah.
and then you're working on the trilogy project.
Right.
And you shoot. I'm assuming you're gonna have some visuals coming as well.
You already know I ain't going out without those.
Who you shooting with next?
Well, I have one.
You got one in the
already.
can.
Yeah, with Mercy's May.
Okay.
I'm sitting on it, so
Okay.
that's kind of going to release it to promote the next album of the. It's called the Trilogy, The
Okay.
Fire 3.
Okay.
Tony Bones, Jerry McDaniel, the producer.
All right.
I'll probably work with Mercy's a little bit more if he's willing.
Any idea when we're dropping the next one?
High Def. I'm sure I'll probably work with High Def. Nah, I'm gonna finish the products first.
Okay.
Then I'll pick out the singles,
Got you.
and then the singles is what I'll shoot the videos to first. But I might end up shooting. It just depends. I gotta hear all the songs first, but I might shoot the majority of the album and
Okay.
videos.
Yeah.
I plan on doing it with my last album, but things just didn't work out how I wanted them to. So
Yeah, visuals are important these days. People want to see stuff, especially with the kids. Man, the young kids, like the really young kids. Like I interviewed a couple of kids that are 17, 18 years old.
Right.
They're not even releasing albums. They're not
Right.
releasing singles. They're only releasing videos,
Right.
and they're going crazy. I mean, there's one kid specifically. I don't know if you heard A. Hilfiger. He's from Brooklyn Park, and he's just dropping videos, and they all go
Right.
nuts.
yeah, man.
It's the move.
Yeah, see, that's another thing I got to be in tune with. See, like you said earlier, like the young cats may not know who I am and
Yeah,
that I kick down the doors, and I need to know.
literally and figuratively.
That's why I like your guys' show and other shows like it, but your guys' show's really been tapping into a lot of the younger crowd and the
Mhm.
older crowd, but I'm learning about some cats I didn't never even heard of.
Yeah.
And that's awesome because now I can pay attention to them. Like, I didn't know about Lexi ever. I knew she released stuff, people talked about her, and I never heard anything until Gloria sent me the fucking album.
She was one of them
Or
ones,
the
man.
Mixtape, yeah. And
They were on her ass.
like, dude, like, she could have blew, like, huge.
She was about to, essentially. I mean, like
Yeah.
Meek Mill was looking for her,
Yeah.
wanted to sign her. Like, yeah. Yeah, they called her the female J. Cole.
Yeah, see, she sounds like Drake to me.
Drake, Cole.
The way she
for sure.
raps,
Yep.
how she lays her bars down and
Yeah.
transitions them.
Yep.
If you listen to Drake, it's like neck and neck.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Gone way too soon, man. She
Yeah.
was definitely on her way out of here.
Agreed.
Unfortunate. R.I.P. Lexi, man, for
Mhm.
sure. Well, shit, I got nothing else for you, man. This has been a pleasure. I've enjoyed hearing your story.
Thanks for having
I
me.
was not expecting to get the
Well, I gave you some real stuff.
the
man.
early Tony Bones, like the real Tony
Yeah,
Bones stuff.
yeah.
I've heard stories, but
Yeah. Oh, there's much more, man.
I'm sure there is.
I just gave you a little bit of super raw. And
Yeah.
Some success from that after.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time. It's a great conversation.
Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to the projects. I look forward to the videos, all that.
Many respects.
Where can they find you at?
Tony Bones LD
Okay.
or Tony Bones. Just Google me. You'll find all my sites.
For sure.
Either Tony Bones or Tony Bones LD. Tony Bones LD on all social sites.
Yep.
LD stands for Long Doe. TonyBones. Larry David LD.
Got it. Perfect, man. Appreciate you. Another episode of Live on Lake Street. I'm Jake Faircloth. Follow me everywhere at Jake Faircloth1.
Damn, Woody. In high school, I let it blam, Woody. I wasn't playing, Woody. I'm coming straight out the south. Hey, genius, best watch your mouth. When I put up on P&B, right, that ain't he come out. You moving ounces, I just moved 100 things in a drought. You want the south side, outside the fence of your house. You talking all that, then wanna come talk it out. If you ain't talking money, you talking about.
One of them was probably still sleeping. I got up at 6 a.m. this morning, and he was still in the living room.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
Was it Fortnite, Call of Duty?
I don't know what he was playing at that time, but I know he jumps around.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, though. These kids, they get on FaceTime with their friends, and they just go. And then I got to come out of my room like, hey, can you tell your friend to shut the fuck up, please? I can hear him on the phone all the way in my room. Yeah, it's wild. It's stressful sometimes.
Yeah, kids are like that.
Teenagers, man. I'm on the brink of having 3 teenage boys in my house.
Probably lucky they're boys. Well, you might, if you had girls, you're probably saying the same thing. Probably lucky they're girls.
I actually do. I do feel that way though. Like because I got friends that are girl dads.
Yeah.
Different respect.
Yeah.
You got girls?
Yes.
Yeah. Different respect.
6-year-old.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
Indeed.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think I was made. I don't think I was born. I was made to have daughters. I don't think.
She's more wanty, needy comparison to my son.
Yeah.
He was just very polite and everything until he got older. And he's still real secretive about dumb shit he does.
I talk shit, but my kids are great. They're so much better than I was at any of those ages.
Yeah,
so much better.
You can't be their best friend, you know. You gotta be a friend, but be their fucking dad and their mom. You know
For
what I mean?
sure. For sure. All right, you ready to go?
I'm with it.
All right, another episode of Live on Lake Street.
I don't know how to say it. Say it. Say it.